Have you ever felt like a ghost in your own life? Like you're present, but somehow invisible, drifting through your own days as if you're watching someone else's story unfold? Watching the world, but not truly feeling it? That was Leo's world. A place where he could see everything, but nothing seemed to touch him. He was a silent observer, separated from the pulse of life by an invisible wall. He lived in a city that never slept, its lights always burning, its streets always alive. Yet Leo felt perpetually tired, as if the city's energy only drained him further, weighed down by something he couldn't name or shake off. Every morning was the same, alarm blaring, bitter coffee in hand, and a world full of noise waiting outside his window. The routine was comforting in its predictability, but also suffocating, trapping him in a loop he couldn't escape. He was adrift, existing, but not living. His days blurred together, each one indistinguishable from the last, as if he were walking through fog. The feeling crept in slowly, tightening around his heart like a gentle but unyielding grip. It was a quiet ache, a longing for something he couldn't quite remember. He went through the motions, work, bills, scrolling through others' perfect lives on glowing screens. Each night he'd lie awake, wondering if he was missing something everyone else seemed to have. Joy felt like a language he'd forgotten, a melody he could no longer hum. Even memories of happiness seemed faded, like old photographs left in the sun. The world outside was vibrant, bursting with color and life. But inside, everything was gray. It was as if he lived behind a pane of glass, untouched by the beauty just beyond his reach. One Friday, the weight became too much. The city's noise was overwhelming, echoing in his mind until he could barely think. He felt like he might disappear beneath it all. He looked out and saw a sliver of green, a park he hadn't visited in years. It was a small patch of hope, a reminder that something softer still existed in the world. What if he just walked? No purpose, no deadline, just to walk, to breathe, to let his feet carry him somewhere new, even if only for a moment. It was a simple idea, but it felt like the only real one he'd had in ages. Maybe, he thought, the quiet could answer questions the noise never could. He left his apartment, phone on silent, and stepped into the unknown. The air felt different, charged with possibility, as if the world was waiting for him to notice it again. He walked away from the noise toward the quiet he desperately needed. Each step felt lighter, as if he was shedding a little of the weight he'd carried for so long. He was searching for something he'd lost, maybe himself. In the hush of the park, with only the sound of his footsteps and the rustle of leaves, Leo wondered if at last he might find it. The shift from city gray to park green was instant. Leo stepped onto the trail, breathing in cool, earthy air. The city's chaos faded, replaced by birdsong and the crunch of his footsteps. He looked up, leaves, sky, dappled sunlight. No destination, no map. For once, that felt freeing. He noticed small things, a dew-strung spider web, the bark of an old oak, a red leaf on moss. These details, lost in city life, were everything here. Each step was a rebellion against numbness. He wasn't thinking about work or worries. He was just here. The ground beneath his feet felt grounding and uplifting. Leo was coming back to his senses, rediscovering a world beyond screens. The forest wrapped around Leo, comforting and ancient. The trees formed a living cathedral, the air cool and alive with quiet sounds. His mind, usually frantic, began to quiet. He watched a squirrel, a line of ants, small wonders he'd never noticed before. In a clearing, he found an ancient tree, its roots like giant knuckles. He touched its bark, feeling its strength and resilience. For a moment, his problems shrank in the vastness of the woods. The forest didn't care about his worries, it simply was. Leo realized he could simply be too. He was a small part of something vast, and that was comforting. In the forest's silence, he found perspective and peace. Leo emerged from the woods into a sunlit field, wildflowers swaying in the breeze. The openness felt like a joyful exhale. He saw a family picnicking, a little girl chasing a butterfly. She stumbled, then looked up and smiled at Leo. Pure, unreserved connection. That smile struck him deeply. a reminder of simple human kindness. He smiled back, feeling warmth break through his isolation. The moment didn't solve his problems, but it reminded him connection was possible. He walked on, thinking of how often he'd avoided eye contact in the city. He'd forgotten the power of a shared glance, a brief smile. The world wasn't just strangers, it was full of small, beautiful acts of kindness. Leo felt lighter, carrying that smile with him. Sometimes happiness is as simple as a smile. The path led Leo to a tranquil lake, its surface mirroring the sky. Ducks glided by, ripples spreading and fading. An old man sat feeding birds, content in his quiet ritual. Leo watched, seeing the joy in the man's simple act of kindness. Happiness, Leo realized, could be found in these small, repeated moments. He sat by the water, letting his thoughts settle like silt in a pond. The lake's stillness was deep, not empty, able to absorb disturbances. Leo wondered if he could learn from the lake, finding stillness within himself. Maybe peace wasn't about emptiness, but about depth. The world's beauty was reflected in the quiet, in the ordinary. Leo felt a calm he hadn't known in years. Night fell, but Leo felt awake, alive. He waited on a hill for sunrise, stars bright above. Nearby, a woman painted at her easel, capturing the dawn. The sky transformed, gray to pink to gold, reflected in the lake. The woman painted with passion, lost in the moment. She wasn't painting for anyone but herself. Leo saw the joy in her creation, the happiness of being fully engaged. Happiness, he realized, could be found in passion and creativity. It wasn't just quiet contentment, but also fiery engagement with the world. Watching her, Leo understood. Happiness is in losing yourself in what you love. The dawn was a daily miracle, one he'd finally witnessed. As the sun rose, the park came alive. Leo walked back, feeling lighter. He passed a Tai Chi group, moving in peaceful harmony. At a playground, children laughed and played, lost in the moment. Their joy was simple, unfiltered, infectious. Leo remembered when happiness was that easy. Watching them, he realized joy is natural, a default state, not something to earn. Their laughter echoed, a promise that happiness is always possible. Sometimes it's found in community, in play, and being present. The walk back to the city felt different. Each step seemed lighter, as if the weight he'd carried for so long had begun to lift. The world around him was waking up, and Leo felt himself waking up with it. The skyline, once oppressive, now sparkled in the morning sun. The tall buildings, which had always seemed cold and distant, were now bathed in gold, their windows reflecting hope instead of indifference. Leo saw the city as a place of people, each with their own stories. The streets were alive with movement, every passerby a living chapter in the city's unfolding tale. He carried memories from his walk, a child's smile that lingered in his mind, the old man's kindness that warmed his heart, the painter's passion that inspired him, and the children's laughter that echoed like music. These were small lights to bring back into the gray. Each memory was a spark, a gentle reminder that even in the city's shadows, there was warmth to be found. The city's noise returned, but it felt less harsh, a different kind of music. The honking cars and distant chatter blended into a symphony of life, no longer overwhelming but strangely comforting. He looked at faces, seeing individuals, not just strangers. Each smile, each glance was a thread in the fabric of the city, weaving everyone together. He wondered about their stories, their moments of beauty. What dreams did they carry? What joys and sorrows shaped their days? The city was full of hidden wonders, waiting to be noticed. He felt connected, part of a shared humanity. The sense of isolation faded, replaced by a quiet belonging, as if he was finally home among others. Life's challenges remained, but Leo had a new way to face them. He understood now that hope could be found in the smallest of moments, and that courage was simply choosing to keep going. Beauty wasn't in a distant future, it was here. Now, in small moments, in a blooming flower, a shared laugh, or a gentle sunrise, he found reasons to keep moving forward. It was a choice to see. to notice the light, to seek out the good, to let gratitude fill the spaces where worry once lived. And Leo chose to see. With every step, he embraced the city and its people, ready to find beauty in every day, no matter what it brought. The next morning, Leo didn't hit snooze. Instead, he let the gentle chime of his alarm be the first sound he heard, a quiet invitation to begin again. The room was still, filled with the soft blue of early light, and for a moment, he simply lay there, feeling the weight of the blanket and the promise of a new day. He walked to his window, ignoring his phone, and watched the sky. The world outside was waking up, slow and unhurried, and Leo let himself be part of that rhythm. The city's sunrise was quiet but beautiful. Golden light spilled between buildings, painting everything with hope. Even the distant hum of traffic felt softer, as if the city itself was taking a deep breath. He opened the window, breathed deeply, and chose to notice one small, beautiful thing: a bird singing on a nearby branch, the coolness of the air, the way sunlight danced on the glass. These details, so easily missed, felt like gifts. He savored his coffee, watching the city wake up. Each sip was a reminder to slow down, to taste the moment, to let gratitude settle in. He felt part of life's flow, not separate from it. The morning was no longer something to rush through, but a gentle current carrying him forward. The fog in his mind was thinner now. He could see the day ahead, not as a list of tasks, but as a series of moments to notice and cherish. He knew hard days would return, but now he had a map. Back to himself. That map was drawn in small, mindful choices, in the courage to begin again each morning. The map was made of small moments: a walk, a kind word, a shared smile with a stranger, or a quiet moment of reflection. A pause to watch the clouds drift by, to let thoughts wander and settle, to remember that life is more than what's urgent. Happiness wasn't a treasure to hunt, but a garden to tend, day by day. It grew in the soil of attention, watered by patience and care. It was about seeing the beauty already there, in the ordinary, the glint of dew on grass, the warmth of sunlight, the comfort of routine. What beauty will you choose to see today? The world is full of small wonders waiting for you to notice. It's here now in this moment. Every day offers a new beginning, a chance to see with fresh eyes. Life has shadows, but it's also full of light and quiet miracles. Even on the hardest days, there is something worth noticing. We just have to choose to see, and in that choice we find our way back to ourselves.